Hello everyone, my name is Rexy, and welcome to the next leg of the Pokémon Maralocke, covering the Returns to Kanto region in Generation 3. The Maralocke has a Nuzlocke of the 32 mainline games in release order, the standard Nuzlocke rules when play, plus no overleveling past the gym leader's ace, and the species I use in the Hall of Fame can't be used again. That means I can't reuse anything that got into the Hall of Fame up to this point. Check out the playlist to see where everything stands so far. For these two games, I have 56 final evolutions to work with. Again, this doesn't include legendaries, but split evolutions are allowed, meaning I can chant Vaporeon if I choose to. I still have to be mindful of what I send to endgame, since what I choose here can potentially have a knock-on effect for Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Additionally, I play with a soft dupe's claws. If I have its Pokédex entry, I don't catch it, but that does mean catching more than one of an evolutionary line. The video subjects here are Pokémon FireRed and LeafGreen. These two games did the advanced remake thing many years before Crash Bandicoot made them cool. All the mechanics from Ruby and Sapphire are present and brought the Kanto region more up to date, making it another viable option for a player's first Nuzlocke. However, psychic types are still considered OP, and Sabrina still sounded like a total nightmare. But in order to get there, the two games had to begin the journey. At Professor Oak's lab, FireRed chose a Bulbasaur and named it Rindo, while LeafGreen befriended Hunter the Squirtle. The two new friends fought our rival and helped with a parcel delivery, and instead of buying our first Pokeballs to build a team with, Oak outright gave some to me for free. I guess that's $1,000 going to the game corner later. The first friends on Route 1 were Chillin the Rattata and Sergeant Bird the Pidgey. LeafGreen was able to get a Rattata of their own on Route 22 and named it Nasty, but all that FireRed could catch there thanks to Dupe's claws was Cobra the Spearow. Despite FireRed not even having a Pidgey, the encounters on Route 2 still ended up being the 5% Weedle, which were named Tanga and Crush. Then things varied more inside the antidote wasteland that was Viridian Forest, thanks to FireRed getting Mikkel the Caterpie and LeafGreen running into a Metapod. Oh great, I guess that's Greta getting switch trained. Despite the unlucky catch, both green bugs were able to evolve into a Butterfree at level 10, with the Weedle duo also hitting that level and reaching their final stage as a Beedrill. These evolutions were just in time to face Brock in Pewter City, with his two rugged rock types. However, both starters had a type that would hit them for a double weakness, so Rindo and Hunter ran one-shots respectively with Vine Whip and Water Gun. Though Hunter was slower than the Onix and took damage with Bind, but it still had the attack power of the Pom-Pom, so it doesn't matter. On the way out of Pewter, I got a pair of running shoes delivered to me, and I guess Mother is not good speaking terms as she needed a go-between this time. With these, I dashed my way to Route 3, where FireRed took on Custap the Pidgey, and LeafGreen met Sheila the female Nidoran. Then at the entrance of Mount Moon, FireRed continued the trend of finding a Zubat, which got named Kabia, while LeafGreen struck its lucky and got Sorceress the Geodude. Both teams also decided to skip getting the Magikarp here, and I'll explain why once around the other side of the mountain. Nevertheless, both sides got some well-rounded teams, at least when they're not on the brink of death. And they'll be of real value when going through the caves. We'll have an answer to everything in no time! A Trainer Spearow links a full stretch of 5 Fury attack hits and calls FireRed's first casualty. Guts Eradicate would have been amazing to use in this game, but that's not happening. Rest well, Chillin. Replacing her was Custap, and the dreaded possibility of dealing with 3 flying types inside the cave. However, nobody had to dread the rocket that had the level 16 Eradicate in the original Red and Blue, because in these games, he had a Rattata and a Sandshrew. Hyperfang crits remained a problem, but not if I use something bulky enough to withstand them. And talking of bulk, the starters soon got it from evolving into Ivysaur and Wartortle at level 16, as did Sheila becoming a Nidorina at the same level. Once the gangs picked up one of 2 fossils discovered inside the cave, the path was open to Route 4. FireRed needed to skip the Magikarp for a chance at getting not only an Ekans, but one with the right ability needed. And indeed, the one encountered had Intimidate, so Jaboka joined the party. LeafGreen called Tara the Sandshrew for the exact same reason, but she didn't get used. The Pidgey duo Custap and Sergeant Bird both evolved into a Pidgeotto, just in time for a battle with the rival at Cerulean City. Gust went out first for an auto battle against its own Pidgeotto in FireRed. It spammed Gust while she pushed through with 4 quick attacks. That move was also a 2-hit KO on the Rattata, but a critical tackle had her too badly injured to continue. Our newbie Jaboka made a great special wall for the Charmander. She tried to flinch with Bite, but that never happened, and she got a burn from its second Ember. Cobra got swapped in. She used 2 more packs to take out the Charmander, while also tanking 2 non-crit Embers, including 1 powered up from Blaze. I'm scared! Yet since Amber knew nothing other than teleport, she also pecked that thing to death too. Sorcerer sled for LeafGreen. Based on typing alone, she was bulky enough to hold back a tackle, Gust, and 3 quick attacks in the Pidgeotto like they were nothing. And you'd expect getting a Geodude in Melt Moon instead of a Zubat would make it more trivial, but Rock Throw has 90% accuracy, one side attack skewed the hit rate to 67, and it took 4 misses before a second attack pinned down that dumb bird. Sergeant Bird used 2 Gusts to take out the Bulbasaur, but got hit with the Leech Seed in the process. And Hunter watched down the Amber with a crit water gun and used the same move for a 2-shot on the Rattata, only getting hit from a quick attack after a tail whip defense drop. The path then opened up to the northernmost section of the map, though only LeafGreen decided to catch something for the moment, being Elora the Bellsprout from Route 25. The closet furry that was Bill gave us some free boat tickets for freeing him from a fantasy gone wrong, which also opened up a path south of Cerulean before we could even challenge the gym. Route 5 was where both of them met a Meowth, naming them Culber and Agent 9, but both of them have the pickup ability, meaning their role is to keep giving me everyone else's trash. And then on Route 11, to the west of nearby Vermilion City, both parties met a Drowsy thanks to duping out the rest of the encounters, naming them Payappa and Zoe. Both of them got switch trained through trainer battles, and eventually I felt they were strong enough to fend for themselves, especially Zoe in LeafGreen. She was at the same level as Gamer Dirk's Magnemite, and while I tried to confuse her with Supersonic, she tried to land Hypnosis. Eventually, it gave up and started using Sonic Boom, which is exactly when it fell asleep. I then thought it'd be a good idea to disable it while sleeping, but it either failed or missed. Not too sure what's the conditions behind sleep in this generation. I thought there'd be enough time to try for a second time, but it woke up and Sonic Boom got the kill. That was not very wise of me and made all this trekking down to this route a complete waste of time. So, Greta went out of retirement for the upcoming gym. But at least Elora evolved into a Weeping Bell, which is a fantastic advantage needed for Misty's water types back at the Cerulean gym. FireRed had an easy answer with Rindo, who went on a solo mission. A misclick on Sleep Powder put the Staryu to sleep, but that was okay, because Vine Whip couldn't quite KO and Misty wasted her only potion. The Starmie was faster as well. He kept spamming Vine Whip while it got the quicker hits with Swift. Not like it mattered because its last one knocked Rindo's health barely into overgrow range, and one more Vine Whip finished it off. Likewise, Elora's Vine Whip couldn't quite take down the Staryu either, so she used Growth while Misty went for a potion heal. Not like it could do much with a hardened setup anyway. Following that, Vine Whip went on to one-shot the Staryu, as well as take out the Starmie in 2 turns, while it also attempted to do big damage with Swift. When training on the SSN, Jaboka also reached her next forms on Arbok and utilized her newfound bulk in conjunction with Intimidate against a rival that was still bubbling under Misty's level. Clearly, he needs to stop catching everything he meets and start training them more. The ship captain told us how to cut without a knife, which I then relayed the instructions over to our little cut mules, Culber and Agent 9. Both Kustap and Greta temporarily went in the box, and with the Moonstone I found, Sheila then evolved into a Nidoqueen. All of this was for one big reason: Lieutenant Surge and a bunch of electric types. Payappa led against the Voltorb and FireRed. He spammed Confusion while it tried to fight back, but could only inflict chip damage with a single shockwave. It also got confused twice, with 2 confusion attacks and a self-hit bringing it down to a tiny pinch of red HP, prompting a potion heal that got rendered futile. Rindo trapped Pikachu with a Leech Seed, used it to negate its damage output from Quick Attack, then took out the rest of its health with a Razor Leaf. Raichu was more complicated, stacking up 3 double teams before it too finally got seeded. He then tried to fight with Razor Leaf, but missed most of his own attacks, got paralyzed, tanked its own assault choice of Shockwave, and was able to break through the evasion with 1 attack while letting the Leech Seed put an end to it. LeafGreen had 2 ground types, but only needed 1 fighter, and that was Sorceress. She one-shotted his entire team with a bunch of fantastic magnitude rolls, and that was despite the Pikachu and Raichu also setting up with double team. Only the Voltorb bothered to attack, but that was with a mere softened tackle. And she also evolved into a Graveler after the battle. Very nice! In the aftermath, the gangs went through Diglett's cave to get the Flash HM on the other side. And once again, on Route 10, they also needed a carrier. A pair of Voltorb, which got named Wakan and Egg. Yeah, I named an electric ball after a collectible item. Who knew? Both of them not only geared themselves up as personal flashlights, but also fought alongside the rest of the party at Rock Tunnel, which was where everyone met Charlie the Geodude and Nancy the Zubat. And FireRed immediately added the former. If evolved all the way, a Golem would be a great physical tank for a lot of things coming up. Something that I already knew well through my runs in the Johto region. All we needed to do was bring him up to par with the rest of the team and, welp. Once again, I forgot which level Geodude lends magnitude and let my own fall to such moronic stupidity. So that's Meekle back out of retirement. But FireRed was still able to breathe easy, as inside the cave, Payappa evolved into a Hypno, a psychic type that was well and truly ready to destroy. The outside path to Celadon City brought the squads out to Route 7, where FireRed took on Oka the Growlithe and LeafGreen met Cinder the Vulpix. The latter made trivial to catch thanks to Egg's soundproof ability making it immune to roar. They respectively replaced Meekle and Sheila. Celadon was not only the home to the next gym, but it was also that for the game corner. So after picking up a coin case, the battle fund soon got converted into play money, which in turn gave FireRed access to the flamethrower TM. That move immediately got told to Oka before she started burning the gym down. Cinder was able to learn the same move naturally before the level cap, so after doing so, she got evolved into a Ninetales via Firestone. Oka still had something viable to learn and would wait until the next section. LeafGreen still got a fair share of coins though, but instead used them to buy a Dratini, naming her Bianca. She would be amazing for late game, but as of right now, she's still too much of a fledgling to fight. Before long, it was time to chop down Erica's grass types, and by chop, we mean with a chef's knife to cook in a stew. Oka and Cinder quickly cranked up the heat with 2 flamethrower Orcos each on the Victreebel and Tangela, but the Vileplume provided problems for both. It survived 1 flamethrower from Oka and FireRed, then that hateful flower dropped a stun spore and proceeded to spam acid after a potion heal. She did push through with another flamethrower, but had to get swapped out after ending up in crit range. Hence, Payappa tanked another acid while finishing it with a confusion. In LeafGreen, Cinder also got paralysis with stun spore, but thankfully she was able to break out twice and land 2 more flamethrowers after her own potion heal before acid could do any serious work. Following this event, the groups then explored the Team Rocket hideout underneath the game corner, where fighting some more grunts evolved Wakan and Egg into a pair of Electrode. The only problem is that their gang leader Giovanni was waiting for us further in, and his team is well protected against the Ball Jewel's antics. For FireRed, Payappa hit a Confusion 2 shot in the opening Onyx, including 1 crit, while it settled with Harden for absolutely no reason. Jaboka landed a 75% glare on the Kangaskhan and proceeded to spam Bite, while all it could do with its offenses was land 3 tail whips and 2 bites back, including a crit of its own. And Rindle's Red Leaf turned the Rhyhorn into a Rock Garden on the first attack. And in LeafGreen, Hunter flushed away the Onyx and Rhyhorn with a water gun each. Sorceress then went in to fight against the Kangaskhan, and after taking a Bite Flinch, a Mega Punch, and a Tail Up Defense drop, she got 2 good magnitude rolls to dispatch it quickly. Giovanni fled and left behind the Silph Scope, which were needed to go through Pokemon Tower at Lavender Town. And after spooking our underlevel rival for a bit, it was time to grab an encounter on a higher floor. Uh-oh. Looks like LeafGreen forgot the Silph Scope. Well, after that blip, both were still able to grab a Cubone each and name them Shucker and Ripto, and LeafGreen immediately left the building to put the latter in the daycare on Route 5. I think you know what's going on by now. During the climb, Oka learned Flame Wheel at level 31 and didn't need a potential agility setup for later, so then was the time to expose her to a Firestone and turn her into an Arcanine. But this dragging section of the game is also where I started rushing things. I was fine with Allura spamming acid on a trainer's Ghastly despite the type disadvantage, but then it set up a curse, landed up on Fuse Ray, then chipped away with Nightshade, and with that triple whammy catching me, there was nothing I could do to save her, except maybe use a different fighter or something. That meant bringing Sheila back just in time to deal with the dead mom at the top of the tower, save Fujifilm from bankruptcy, and figure out where the camera function is on the Pokeflute. I mean, a selfie at a big sentient molehill is always good in my book. To the south of the map was Fuchsia City, which meant a straight run into the Safari Zone for the Warden's Teeth, the Surf HM, and a potential encounter. While in there, FireRed encountered an Execute, which broke out of the first ball thrown and fled the scene. Not again! Meanwhile, LeafGreen met Bentley the Paris. Not a great encounter on its own, but he can still be an interesting joke fighter for late game. With the Safari Zone loss fresh in the head, FireRed opted to make up for it with some fishing encounters. Back Back at Viridian City, Key the Goldeen got hooked up and caught, then he too got brought to the daycare on Route 5. And then there was Enigma the Poliwag, fished up on Route 25. He won't be a fighter, but he'll still be useful for something in late game. The parties then fought every trainer across that part of the map, with Rindo becoming a Venusaur, Hunter evolving into a Blastoise, and the Pidgeotto duo becoming a Pidgeot. The latter especially needed to dominate over at the Fighting Dojo in Saffron City. Defeating the Karate Master gave both squads a Hitmonlee each, naming them Chapel and Spyro. And even FireRed started to face a slog of the progression when liberating Silphco for the 4th time, rushing through every battle inside. As a result, scientist Jerry's Voltorb had the potential to kill Rindo after its Magnemite buddy landed a Supersonic. Then on both attempts to attack with Razor Leaf, Rindo went and hit himself. And then the Voltorb used Self-Destruct, which thankfully didn't crit, but left him on just 8 HP. Don't do what I did. If you feel the slug, take a breather. At the very least, the weird wandering tourist that was my rival was a more interesting sight for eyes than a set of low-life criminals. The outcome of the fight in FireRed was very similar to the one at Pokémon Tower though. Wakan Oko the Pidgeot and Gyarados with Spark, only taking a quick attack from the former while unnecessarily paralyzing it with the static ability. Oko the Execute with Flamethrower, and Payappa landed 2 headbutts on the Alakazam while it tried to set up with Carmine and set an attack with Future Sight, which didn't activate at all. The only difference this time is that his Charizard gained a weakness, letting Wakan fight it with 1 spark less. I was worried that the second spark would either be a low roll just like the first, or miss because of Smokescreen, but it did neither, so things still went well. In LeafGreen, Egg fought the Pidgeot and Gyarados the exact same way, but with no use of static because soundproof. Hunter dispatched the Growler for the single Surf, Cinder's Flamethrower was a 2-shot on the Venusaur, leaving it to merely do Razor Leaf Chip, and Alakazam also tried for a Carmine setup into Future Sight, but a Surf in his strength was what Hunter needed to also bring it down. Only after going past him were the gangs ready to face Giovanni and weaken Team Rocket's hold at its core. FireRed's lead with Rindo against the Nidorino was a bad idea, so I quickly brought in Payappa. He takes a Horn Attack, then inflict a Mental Hellstorm with Psychic. That same move went on to be a 2-shot against the Nidoqueen, which attempts to intoxicate with Poison Sting thankfully never happened. Rindo then spammed Razor Leaf against the Kangaskhan, holding back 2 Mega Punches and a Rage. Rather than risking a miss into a crit kill, I switched in Kostap while it kept fighting with Rage and let her finish it with a Wing Attack. And this time I sent in Jaboka against the Rhyhorn, landing 3 bites and holding back a Rock Blast Ring that got its impact softened from her Intimidate ability. LeafGreen opted for Girl Power. Sheila used 3 Body Slams on a Nidorino, dodging a Fury attack and holding back a soft Poison Sting. Sorceress walled the Kangaskhan's Mega Punch attacks while getting in 2 good Magnitude rolls, including 1 level 8 crit. Magnitude was also a 2-shot on the Nidoqueen as it fought with Body Slam and Poison Sting, which also poisoned her. And despite this, she kept fighting against the Rhyhorn with 2 more Magnitude rolls for the finish, holding back a soft Fury attack. Once again, the President gave us a Master Ball for our heroic efforts, and once again, it caught something that didn't get used. With that event out of the way, it was finally time to go for 2 gym badges back to back. The parties first went for Koga's poison types at Fuchsia City, and endured 2 very eventful scraps. In FireRed, Jaboka took down the first Coughing with 2 bites and held back a soft Sludge, but that move was hardly doing anything against the Mug, so I swapped into Payappa. The Mug's incoming Sludge attack poisoned him before he could unleash a Psychic to take the rest of its health out, and an Oko on the second Coughing with the same move. I then played his Wheezing a bit differently. I tried Kostap, thinking she could dodge Self-Destruct with Fly, but another Sludge hit her and she got poisoned too. And so did Oko on the switch-in. But then I remembered that Wheezing's special defense stats are low, so I let loose with 3 Flamethrowers to finish it off, all while the health went down to the red. She was faster too, and I took advantage of the pushing heals to keep her in for the eventual knockout. It's still enough health to get her back to the Pokemon Center. Sorceress stepped out for LeafGreen. She missed a Rock Throw on the first Coughing and tanked a Self-Destruct, used 2 middling Magnitude rolls against the Muck while it tried to set up with Minimize, then got poisoned with Sludge against the third Coughing and connected 2 Rock Throws to take it out. LeafGreen also thought that the Weezing could also go bang like in Red and Blue, so Sheila was brought out as a sacrificial lamb and did as much damage as possible with Body Slam. However, it kept using Tackle, and the main reason is because it didn't know Self-Destruct, and Sludge would have done much less damage to her. I guess I was worrying for no reason at all. Koga used 2 Hyper Potions and a full heal to keep it up, but Sheila's persistence was enough to take it out and get us another badge. And then there was the dreaded psychic witch that was Sabrina back at Saffron City. FireRed sent Rakan out first to build a light screen, mitigating her team's attacks. It then proceeded to use Spark while the Kadabra kept beating itself up with Calm Mind to the point that a potion heal prolongs the inevitable. Whenever the screen went down, another got set up, and all it fought back with was 2 uses of Future Sight. Kostap jumped in for the Mr. Mime, spamming wing attacks while it set up a barrier to reduce the impact, and used a Psybeam not long after a potion heal and the second light screen fading away. Orca one-shotted the Venomoth with Flamethrower, and then came Alakazam. It took 3 Calm Mind setup turns for Payappa to put it to sleep with Hypnosis, only to see Sabrina use a full heal to wake it up. But then I learned that all it was really meant to do was 2 HKO with Headbutt. So after holding back a +3 Psychic like a champ, he dealt that second Headbutt to secure that stupid badge. And LeafGreen led with Cinder. She went up first against the Kadabra, landed a burn against it with Will-O-Wisp, and didn't get a burn back from its Synchronize ability due to Flash Fire. It did try to set up a Calm Mind sweep and a Future Sight attack, which failed for reasons beyond my understanding. But she then used 3 Flamethrowers to take it out while dealing with a potion heal, then 2 more on the barrier-building Mr. Mime and an Oko on the Venomoth. But then there was the Alakazam. She also tried to burn with Will-O-Wisp, which also took 2 attempts. And the +1 setup from Carmine meant she then became dead to a crit, but that was the sacrifice I was willing to make. However, Sabrina cured the burn with a full heal, and Flamethrower didn't even do half health, so she had to try and burn it again. And yet, it missed, and Cinder went down to another Psychic. Thanks to its power, Hunter would have also been dead to a crit, but he also tanked a non-crit +1 Psychic and finished it off with Strength. I told you Sabrina is still a nightmare. With access to Surf, the party was able to explore new parts of the map. One of these was the power plants near Route 10, which could give us another Electric-type option if caught. However, FireRed messed up the Magnemite with Payappa's Psychic being too powerful. LeafGreen, on the other hand, met Sparks the Pikachu, which did get safely caught. Following this, the parties then surfed over to Cinnabar Island and did some adjustments to the squads for this section of the game. FireRed revived the Helix fossil picked up earlier and obtained Pasho the Ammonite, a water type that paired with Chapel on substitution and replaced Rakan and Payappa. And he even evolved into an Armor Star during the trainer battles and exploration around the Pokemon Mansion. Meanwhile, Spyro and Sparks got moved over in LeafGreen, taking a dead spot and retiring Egg. And in preparation for the fights ahead, Sparks also evolved into Raichu with a Thunderstone, which I gave to him after naturally learning Thunderbolt at level 26. After finding the secret key inside the mansion, the doors were open to Blaine's Fire-type gym, and both parties had a Water type to bring the temperature down. FireRed's choice of Pasho had a fantastic double resistance to fire, but he still got outspared from both the Arcanine and the Rapidash. Arcanine tried to flinch with Bite, but that didn't happen. Rapidash, however, landed a Fire Blast and caused a burn. Not like it mattered because Surf still all-crowed his entire team. LeafGreen obviously chose Hunter. He also hit a Surf one-shot in the Ponyta, Growlithe and Rapidash, but the Arcanine held on, meaning he had to tank a single Fire Blast, which is weird because he's got a nature that boosts special attack. But we're there and ready to move on. Following this event, Bill showed up outside and took me over to some Sevi Islands place for more training. The parties pushed through with swift level gains in preparation for the next gym and were really looking in good shape. Though, once again, FireRed made a poor decision and thought a mere strength could one-shot a trainer's matchup. But it didn't, and then it retaliated with the mother of all revenge crits. That was my fault for thinking strength had more power to fight than Brick Break. Another example of me being, well, as dumb as bricks. FireRed stepped back and re-evaluated the team and those waiting in the box. Wakan rejoined to fill the dead spots, for obvious reasons, but I also learned that Corba the Spearow had not only a Ghost-type hidden power, but also a solid amount of attack power too, making her especially useful for the final battles. Thus, I also benched Kostap here, then trained her up to become a mighty Fearow. It's as good a time as now to get this line champed. One more gym stood between us and the league, and that was Giovanni's ground types in Viridian City. I could have just washed over the lot of them with Pashel's Surf and FireRed, but he's a partial rock type and would struggle against Earthquake due to his low speed, so I chose not to lead with him. Rindle's Razor Leaf one-shotted the first Rhyhorn and Dugtrio, though one of them did miss the latter, allowing it to retaliate with a soft Earthquake. Razor Leaf did not have the power to two-shot the Nidoqueen, so once he ended up in crit range, I dodged its Earthquake spam by swapping to Cobra and pushed with Drill Peck. But Giovanni then got miffed, so rather than continue the body slam spam, he then swapped over to his second Rhyhorn. So I then finally brought in Pasho, who held back the Rhyhorn's attack choice with Takedown, then used Surf to take out the rest of his health. A misclick from my part accidentally brought in Oka for round 2 against his Nidoqueen, but that was okay, because she went first and reduced it to ashes with Flamethrower. Finally, Cobra went in and held back a Thrash Assault from the Nidoking. 2 Drillpecks later, and the battle was won. As for LeafGreen, yep, Hunter Surf Sweep. He totally redeemed himself. Not so long after the win, our rival waited for us over at Route 22 for a pre-league warm-up. FireRed opened with Pasho against the Pidgeot. He held back a quick attack, then 2-shotted the Big Bird with Ice Beam, even landing a freeze on the first turn. Oka 1-shotted the Execute with Flamethrower, Brindo did the same to his Rhyhorn using Razor Leaf, then so did Wakan Spark against Gyarados. Oka couldn't O-call the Alakazam with extreme speed, meaning she held back a Psychic on the eventual 2-shot. Pasho was naturally slower than Charizard, but Flamethrower was hardly doing anything back even in Blaze range, so that still went down to 2 Surfs. LeafGreen split the job evenly between 3 fighters. Sparks' Thunderbolt O-called the Pidgeot while also tanking a quick attack, then later landed the 1-shot on the Gyarados. Hunter washed over the Growlithe and Rhyhorn with a Surf each. Sergeant Bird got a Wing Attack 2-shot of the Venusaur while it tried to set up with Growth, and then he returned for the Alakazam with a Wing Attack and Quick Attack combo as it tried for a Carmine setup. A fantastic final fight. Yep, LeafGreen decided to retire Sergeant Bird upon arrival at Indigo Plateau. Our first catch had been with us the entire way and so much of the drama unfold, but we also needed to see more of his species line in future generations. The same could also be said for Sheila and Sorceress, 2 unlikely ground types that became individually valuable. With those 3 in the box, LeafGreen decided to round up the party with Bentley, who evolved into a Parasect, Ripto, who became a Marowak, and finally, after so much training and delaying her evolution by 1 level for early outrage, Bianca was finally ready to fight alongside us as a Dragonite. FireRed didn't do much replacing in comparison, retiring Wakan for the 2nd time, then bringing Key out to the daycare and evolving him into a Sea King. Now, originally when I played these legs, I thought the level caps for the Elite Four and Champion would be the same as Gen 1, but as it turned out, everything was 2 levels lower. So this section was re-recorded many months later, with the team fixed so that none of them exceeded the level of Lance's Dragonite. Thankfully, Colbur and Agent 9 helped us out with rare candy stock for late game, as well as giving us as many copies of the Hidden Power TM as I could get away with. Nevertheless, it was time to charge our way through the Elite Four. The first in line was Lorelei, with a team consisting of 4 ice types and a certain imposter. Amusingly, FireRed sent Key up first thanks to his electric-type hidden power. He took it out in 3 turns while it only retaliated with an Ice Beam and a Surf. He stayed in for the Cloyster, but he couldn't do enough to one-shot it, and it sent Hail onto the battlefield. To mitigate it, Oka went in on the healing turn, set up with Sunny Day, then took it out with a Flamethrower from full health. The sun was still up for Lapras, which Oka also used 2 Flamethrowers to kill. All it did back was land the Confuse Ray, which she was able to break out of and land the finishing blow. Key went in against the slow bow and got off 1 hidden power before getting hit with Yawn, so I switched into Rindo to prevent Sleep from kicking in, tanking a Surf and using a single Razor Leaf to finish it off. And finally, Oka torched the Jinx with a single Flamethrower. In LeafGreen, Sparks was a monster, landing an O-Call Thunderbolt on the Duragon, Cloyster and Slowbro. We had to make do with the 2-shot of the Lapras, which fought back with nothing more than a mere Ice Beam. Bianca tried to roast the Jinx with Flamethrower, but it was too short for the kill even with the Charcoal, and she got put to sleep with Lovely Kiss. So Spyro went in, held back a nice punch, and finished it with a Brick Break. When fighting Bruno in Gen 1, his entire team faced one-shots, but things went a little different here. Pasho and Hunter both hit Surf O-Calls on the Onyx pair, and the Hitmonchan got 1-shot respectively from Cobra's Drill Peck and Bianca's Wig Attack. Neither of them could do the same to the Machamp though. Cobra got met with a Scary Face Speed Drop, meaning she held back a non-crit cross drop the following turn, and an equally non-crit Mega Kick from the Hitmonlee on the way to another Drill Peck O-Co. What kind of risk was that? Bianca, however, dodged a Rock Tomb from the Machamp, meaning the Hitmonlee was unable to even touch it as she went in for the Wing Attack 1-shot. No damage! Up next was Agatha's team of Toxins, pretending to be a team of Spooks. FireRed absolutely needed that Ghost-type immunity from Cobra, so she led against the first Gengar and landed 2 Drill Pecks, even when punching herself in the face in confusion and facing a double-team setup. Pasho took in Golbat's Confuse Ray and hit himself once, but he didn't get a bite flinch and broke through it on the second go and O-Co'd it with Ice Beam. Cobra's Drill Peck was a low roll in the Haunter on the first attempt, times, though she luckily dodged a hypnosis and was able to get a better damage roll in the healing turn, taking it out from full health. Grindo faced the immediate attack drop from Maralocke, but Earthquake was still a 2H KO no matter what, and Sludge Bomb wasn't even going to crit kill in a month of Sundays. Finally, Koba returned for the second Gengar, tanked a Sludge Bomb, dodged a hypnosis, and took it out with more Drill Peck spam. LeafGreen made the fight Ripto's time to shine, and it initially was, with 2 uses of his Ghost type and power on the first Gengar, all while holding back 2 Shadow Punch attacks and missing once through its double team setup. Sparks jumped in and landed a Thunderbolt one-shot to the Golbat, then Ripto got brought back in to fight the Arbok with 2 uses of Boomerang while it landed a Screech defense drop and hit a brutal Iron Tail that also brought him down to -3 defense. I didn't want to risk him staying on the field against Hunter, so I opted for Sparks, who landed a Thunderbolt one-shot. On the switch for the second Gengar, I brought in Bianca to fight. She immediately got put to sleep and tanked Sludge Bomb twice, and then she went on to wake up and finally use Outrage. However, a third use of Sludge Bomb poisoned her, and she couldn't get off one last attack before being left vulnerable to a kill. Hunter leapt in next, tanked a Sludge Bomb with a switch, which also poisoned him, then tanked another Sludge Bomb and a Shadow Ball on the way to a Surf 2-shots from full health, making it even more dead. Then there was Lance's team, 3 Dragon types and 2 other flyers waiting in the wings. He led for FireRed and started off with a Hidden Power 2-shot, holding back 2 uses of Dragon Rage. Pasho then went in and set up Rain Dance to activate Swift Swim, only to get hit by the first Dragonair's Thunder Wave. Despite paralysis, he consistently broke through it as he OHKO'd the Dragonair pair and the Dragonite with Ice Beam, all while tanking 2 Outrage attacks in total and pretending the safeguard setup didn't exist. With health deep in the yellow for the Aerodactyl and the rain still active, I switched to Key, who tanked an Ancient Power and OHKO'd with Surf. LeafGreen's lead of Sparks ran a Thunderbolt OHKO on the Gyarados, as it should. Thunderbolt's Ice Beam initially— Wait, Thunderbolt's Ice Beam? What now? Hunter's Ice Beam ran 2 shots on his Dragonair duo. The Dragonite went down to a 2-shot, not including a potion heal. Not like a safeguard setup could still do anything. The Aerodactyl went for Ancient Power, but it got an Omni Boost, meaning Surf wouldn't one-shot it at all. But it fought with another Ancient Power attack that couldn't crit OHKO, leaving it open to another wave of water to wash it away. Last but not least, we had the champion fight against our own rival. When I originally recorded this, I forgot to put rare candies on everyone, which was good, because nobody expected the level of his Charizard or Venusaur. Here, I did use rare candies to bring everyone up to par for this one last battle. FireRed once again sent Pasho out first against his Pidgeot and opened spectacularly with a crit Ice Beam OHKO that turned it into a frozen ready meal. He stepped in for the ride-on and OHKO'd it with Surf, then Orca did the same to Exeggutor with Flamethrower. Key's Hidden Power wasn't enough to one-shot the Gyarados, and his lower speed meant he tanked 2 uses of Thrash. A 2-shot is still fine though. Pasho held back a Fire Blast on Charizard, but that too went down to an OHKO Surf. Finally, Alakazam. Learning from Red and Blue, I felt a stab Drill Peck would do enough, but not quite. After tanking a non-crit Psychic, she tried again on a healing turn to no avail. But then I remembered, Return had higher base power, for obvious reasons. Therefore, she tried that on the second full restore heal, and it was left with a sliver. Thankfully, it high-rolled on the third healing turn, and the battle was over. LeafGreen's lead of Sparks remained an all-star, running an OHKO Thunderbolt on the Pidgeot and Gyarados. Hunter crit through the ride-on with a Surf one-shot, and Bianca's wing attacks were only enough to 2-shot the Venusaur, which left a parting gift of indoor sunlight for a sunny day. Bianca went in for the second-to-last fighter, the ever-feared Alakazam. Flamethrower was a 2-shot thanks to the sun, and it only fought back with Psychic. And finally, Hunter versus Arcanine, and lucky for us, the sun had gone. It tried to fight with extreme speed, but that move hardly did chip damage back. And that too went down to the flood that was Hunter's Surf, securing victory. And just like that, Nuzlocks were completed in both FireRed and LeafGreen. And I didn't use a single healing item either. I guess I was a set mode away from playing with proper hardcore rules, which is already not advised in a series of runs like this. Once again, we had our champ fodder moments, but I was still pleasantly surprised that Key and Ripto had useful utilities to help out their teams when needed. With 12 more evolutions retired, it's time to head to Sinnoh. I'll catch you in the next installment where I make my first move through Generation 4, so subscribe to see the next video as it goes live. For now, Rexy out. Thanks for watching, and don't be afraid to take a break.